Hello, I am officially just Nicole, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Here you can expect to see some faith, a whole lot of fashion, some food, as well as fun. This is a new journey for me, and I'm excited. So today I'm gonna just get straight into it. We are, as you saw in the title, 5 year celibacy, and then dating as a Christian woman, and how is that going for me? So first, I just want to talk about why I became celibate. So we'll just get straight to the point. So I am celibate for religious reasons. I am celibate with the intent to find a husband or be found by a husband, whichever one comes first. So I got saved in 2018, and then from there, I began, walking my journey with Jesus Christ, and he just began to reveal to me, first what sex does. God just began to reveal to me, what soul ties are, and then how they keep us bound, like how you literally take on, back then it was like just other people's energy. Like if they are, say you're dealing with a man and he's, depressed or like angry, and then you start dating him, or insecure, and you never really felt those emotions before, but as you start dating him, those emotions, begin to come out in your character. So that was one way. Soul tie. So I didn't want to be bound anymore to any of the men that I was bound to at the time, and I really wanted to be set free to figure out who I was, outside of being under the influence of a man or someone that I was dating. So as God began to heal me and began to, pull things off of me, I fell in love with being free. Being whole is the better word for it. Another thing that really propelled me forward in my journey is that God began to reveal to me that he has purpose for my partner. So like he really indeed had a husband for me. So that for me just kind of changed my whole mindset. Like if you have a husband for me, I want to definitely save myself for him, because I want to be complete for my husband. And then another reason was because God revealed that he had purpose for my union, like for the man that he has for me. Like he has a purpose for us to do it together. And I felt like I didn't want to sabotage, or ruin or be disobedient. Like, let's be real, when knowing that God had something already planned and cultivated for me. So that made it really, really easy. And then I, just found out that I wasn't ready to be nobody's wife. I wasn't ready to be any of those things. Yeah, so being able to, face my problems head on, like I wasn't running from nothing no more. Like I stopped being afraid of being, vulnerable. Like it is what it is, like, because you don't know what you don't know. And I think I had to learn that it's okay if you don't know. But I also learned that what you don't know, make the shift, make the change. And I feel like so many people get stuck or offended and just being exposed in this way, or just having, your brokenness highlighted. It's like not a great feeling at all. And then just kind of like, trying to cover yourself, because that's what you want. Like you want to be protected. Like Adam and Eve in the garden, like after they found out they were exposed, they wanted to cover themselves. But I feel like with me and God, I had an opportunity to kind of just embrace it, sit in my mess, and make the change. Like, okay, this is what got me here. I will not do this again. Just in conclusion, like I really had a lot of things I had to deal with within myself, which I'm so thankful for, that I got an opportunity to, have that, that exposure. Because I say I was exposed, but it ain't like I was like on blast. It was just a very tough season with just me and God for like a period of 6 years, like where we are now. So moving on from there, that's a little bit why I wait. So now I just want to talk about the wait. So right now I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good. Like at first, I just wanted a husband so bad. Like, oh my goodness, where's my man at? Where's my husband? Like, where is he at? Like, I'm, doing all these things, getting in position. I'm healing. I'm doing all of these things. Like, Lord, where is my husband at? And then, like, year 4, God had released me to date. So, yes, year 4, God released me to date. And it was an interesting experience, I'll say that. But I will say this, the lesson from it. So I did try it and date someone. I was healed and everything, but what I learned is that or what God taught me was that I had begun to raise the fact of like being a wife and finding a husband. I began to raise it up as an idol, right? Idol meaning that anything that you put before God is an idol. I don't feel like I put this before God at all, but I feel like I really, really wanted it bad, that I settled in some ways. But God told me, that He released me because I began to idolize the ideal of marriage. So I don't feel like I put the marriage ideal before God, but what I did do is begin to like kind of wrap my identity up in like being a wife. Like, oh, when I become a wife, like this will be happening in my life. Like it was just like, so I was consumed by it. Like I was just consumed with finding a husband, and I began to raise it up as an idol. I guess that's what the Lord said. I don't believe that's what I did, but I understand what He said. Like I worship the idea of being a wife, right? So anyways, that dating situation did not go well, which is fine. Like I said, I learned some things about myself, and things that I'm glad I did. I was able to see because I hadn't dated nobody in a while, so I was green, and I've been celibate and walking with God. So I'm thinking that God is going to cultivate an atmosphere that was perfect. And what I've learned is that people are still broken. Like I'm healed. People, like while you're doing all this work and getting well, there is a big portion of people who are not doing any work at all. So some people don't want to get help. You get what I'm saying? Some people don't want to be well, and some people don't want to do what it takes because, like I said, healing is so hard, but it's so worth it. But it is hard. It is not easy. Healing is not easy. So there's that. So it did not work out, which is fine. But I learned some things about myself. I learned what I do not like what I cannot tolerate, and what I just simply just cannot digest. And the most of all, the best thing that I've learned is that I don't have to. So if it's not what I prayed for, if it's not what God said, then I don't have to settle for it. So that was the big lesson there. So that was a blessing. Like I want to have sex, but like I don't want to like do all of that. Like that's going on now. Like they just have taken sex to a whole nother level. What is, different strokes for different folks, it is what it is. I'm not judging in that regard, but I do believe in keeping a marriage bed clean. And then so one of my prayers is that my husband does have, self-control over sex, because like I said, it's so sexualized. And for me, like I have abstaining, like I want this to feel special to you. Like I don't want it to just be another, thing. So I do want you to be sensitive, to me, and be able to, appreciate, what I'm giving you, because it's been held on reserve for quite some time. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Maybe we'll elaborate a little bit more, but right now we just gonna leave it at that. Your girl do want some, but I just don't want it like that, if that makes sense. Moving on to my next question, why are you still waiting? So I am absolutely still waiting because I am absolutely believing God for a husband. And I believe that it's closer now than it has ever been. And I will say that in my journey, like my taste in men like has completely changed. Like who I wanted at 26 is not the kind of man that I want at 32. And I'm loving that for me, because I'm learning the importance of the relationship. It's more than the glitz and the glam. It's really about like serving one another, doing your purpose, whatever God gives you as your purpose. But being able to handle life together. Like life is hard, and I have been through so much, and I'm like, just having somebody who can carry the weight of life like with you. You know what I'm saying? Because life is heavy, like more now than it has ever been. So I need somebody who can hold some weight, like for sure. To holding some weight, I definitely want a man who is first submitted to Christ, and then who submits his mind, will, and emotions. Because as humans, we have things that we do, things that we say, like whatever, like we can be triggered and we can respond in a certain kind of way. And I truly know that God can regulate your response. Like instead of just reacting, you can have God guide you in like how you're supposed to respond. Like even when as a mom, like my child would do things and be completely in the wrong, and I have had God tell me like, okay, go in there and apologize though. Like, go in there and make it right. Like, yes, the Bible says, like, do not let the sun go down on your anger. He's talking about, your kids too. So I need somebody who can, be submitted to God, so he can allow him to regulate his responses, because you might want to react in a way, but maybe that's not the way you need to react. And I need somebody that has, enough self-awareness to do that. Let's talk about, how is dating going? So dating is not going for me right now. Like, I'm not dating anyone. I haven't proactively tried to date anyone in about 2 years. So for me though, God has given me some guidelines. Like, okay, you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta like, so you gotta go. Like, people need to know that you're alive, like that you're around. So you gotta, put yourself out there. Be available but not too available. So some guidelines that God gave me, which I wanted to run down because this might work out for you guys. So I'm gonna just start out with the analogy that God gave me. He gave me two going into dating. One going into dating, and then one going into like marriage. So I'm gonna share that with you guys. Okay, so the analogy that God gave me, he said to imagine that you are a brain surgeon and you have to pick a partner. Y'all have a patient who is near death, and this surgery needs to happen now, right? Because it's an urgency. Like, God is calling us to an urgency, because I know that this word is not just for me. So imagine that you were a brain surgeon and you had to pick, and you had these three options. So in order to pursue this operation, you either could pick another brain surgeon who is licensed and is a certified brain surgeon. You can also pick a brain surgeon who has finished school but has not passed his test. And then you also have a person who has finished college, done all the requirements to be a doctor, but he's thinking about becoming a brain surgeon. Who are you picking? This person is about to die, and it is an urgency for y'all to move forward. Who are you picking? So to break down and give an understanding, we'll start with the person who, went to college and he's thinking about, becoming a brain surgeon. So to be a brain surgeon, I can only imagine, like, what it takes to become a brain surgeon. So this person is kind of like teetering. Like, do I want to do what it takes? Do I want to do what it takes to be, saved for real? Do I really want to, let go of my life? Like, do I really believe in Jesus, or do I believe in a universe, or do I believe in something else? Like, I feel like that kind of person for me. The devil likes to play in darkness, and it's just too much darkness for me. So the devil can definitely manipulate him, out of it, just change his mind. And I ain't got time for, got a patient on the table, like, who is about to die right now. Like, you're clearly not certified for this operation. So let's go ahead and move on to the next person, who has completed school. He just, hasn't taken his test yet. So my question is, like, are you studying for the test though? Like, where your head at? Like, how long has it been since you looked at your books? Like, are you focused? You get what I'm saying? Like, where are you at? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you focused? Are you studying? Are you ready for the test? Because the test is coming. Like, you did everything else required but passed the test. And that kind of person is a person, like, has he been tested and tried by God? Like, refined through the fire, like, really been through something, like, when God didn't say yes. You get what I'm saying? Like, when God hurt your feelings, like, do you lose faith, when things aren't going your way? Like, are you still going, believe on God, or do you search for another? You get what I'm saying? Like, do you still believe on Jesus, or do you look for another God because, he didn't do things the way you wanted him to do, so you just stopped studying for the test altogether? So for me, like I said, the devil definitely likes to deal in the darkness. So the only person who is qualified for this operation is going to have to be another brain surgeon. And what that man looks like is somebody who has definitely been rooted in Christ, who has been tested and tried, at least for me, because I have. And somebody who's gonna, do it anyway, whether you're scared, whether you're nervous. Like, this operation is our purpose. This patient is our purpose. So I need somebody who I can join forces. Yeah, so this patient is our purpose, and the only way that we can successfully do this without losing it or it dying on us is to get somebody who is qualified for the job. So all God is saying is, qualify your people. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily going to be a brain surgeon, but God is saying, I'm going to give you some guidelines, on how to qualify your husband. And that's what God did for me. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about the guidelines that he gave me briefly, and then just seeing like what that means for you, because I'm believing that we're on this dating journey together. First thing that I want to talk about is vicinity. Like, where is your husband? Like, I had to ask God, like, where is he? Like, where is he at on the map? Please drop a pin. Like, where is he at? So ask God, where do I need to be? Like, where do I need to be seeking? Like, where do I need to be so I can get there, So ask God that, like, where your husband is. Like, when I prayed to God, because God gave me a word, he said he gave me, he has a space for me that is the most suitable space where I can be the most fruitful, the most successful. And I'm like, Lord, where is that space at? And where is my husband at? He's saying, like, I have a version of heaven for you on earth. You get what I'm saying? So you want to be at where you're supposed to be at. You absolutely want to be, in the right space, so you're not seeking in the wrong space or looking to be found in the wrong space. Like, you definitely want to be aware of, like, where you're supposed to be at, so you can get into those atmospheres. And if it causes you to elevate, spend a little bit more to be in these places, like, you need to do that, because we're not going to waste no time marching around the palace no more. Like, we got to be inside the palace, and whatever that looks like for you. You get what I'm saying? Whatever that space is for you, you definitely want to be there. And sometimes it's a space that you're not used to. It's a space that you're not familiar with. So you got to kind of contour and, step your game up, because I know that God is always going to call you higher, because God is always going to call you higher. That's just the bottom line. We'll talk about that another day. But you're going to have to step your game up, elevate and put yourself in that space, and it might be uncomfortable. And I ain't going to lie to you, it will be uncomfortable, because it's not your normal. But you have to elevate to be in these spaces. Definitely going to stretch you, like, for sure. He's going to stretch you. He's going to stretch your thinking. He's going to stretch the way you believe that life should be. Like, God is going to stretch you. So the space definitely will be elevated. And then we just not wasting no more time. So like I said, the first thing was qualification. Qualify your husband. The second thing is vicinity. Like, find out where your husband is. Like, where do I need to be at, God? Like, where do I need to be at, so I can put myself in those spaces so I can be found? Dating is not the same no more. Like, I'm the type of person, I like natural stuff. I like natural draws. I like to feel a person out, like, and I just believe in that. But since, people don't go out that much no more, especially, being, a Christian and being sober, like, I don't go to the club, so I'm not at a lot of social events. You get what I'm saying? Like, and then the social events that are happening are like parties or clubs. So it's like, where do I need to be at? Like, where's our happy medium? So find out where. Okay, so after vicinity, the next thing that God wants us to do is, it's like a qualifications part 2. So his actions, watch them. Give it some time. Like, don't just jump at the thought of, like, oh my gosh, he did this, because that was me. Like, oh, he doing this, like, this is him, and it wasn't. Watch him. Give it some time. Like, don't be so quick to just kind of fall in love. I mean, that's for lack of a better word. Is this person what you prayed for? So, and give it some time. Like, not what he say, but definitely watch what he does. Like, just be patient, and don't let him know what you're looking for. Just watch and see if he does it. It's a specific thing that God is going to let you know that your husband should be doing. If he's doing it, it might be him. If he's not doing it. All right, so after your qualifications part 2, say he's doing a thing. He's doing everything that God said he would do, and it's a possibility, this might be the one. So let's just say he is the one. We just gonna skip. We're gonna drive past. We just gonna skirt real fast. Let's say he is the one, and y'all are getting married. Like, this is the one that you've been waiting for. Like, he's everything that you can imagine. God said, imagine. This is the second analogy. God said, imagine you and your husband. Let's say y'all on a honeymoon and y'all get on a boat and y'all go to a private island. And when you get to the private island, the boat crashes and it's just you and him on this private island. One thing that we know is that you guys are going to have to rebuild the boat. So y'all going to have to gather pieces. Y'all going to have to gather. God said you are either going to build a boat to stay on the island, or you're going to build a boat to get back to the other side. The island is where I want you. So you either build to leave or you build to stay. And God said the island represents the marriage. So this is where it comes in qualifying your partner. Like, who are you stuck with? Are they scared? Are they frantic? Are they willing to help you gather pieces? Y'all don't know what's on this island. Y'all don't know what kind of animals are there. So now y'all got to scout out the territory. Y'all got to see what's around. Y'all got to put up boundaries. You get what I'm saying? To protect yourself. Y'all got to get food. You know, y'all got to gather. Now you're discovering, you know, like, who are you stuck with? Like, what you got? Like, is this person, you know, helping you gather? Is this person, you know, watching you do everything? Is this person, you know, are they scared? Frank, have they given up? You know what I'm saying? Like, either way it go, the boat has to be rebuilt, and we don't know how long it's gonna take. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how long it's gonna take to get this marriage functioning and flowing in a positive, healthy way that God envisioned. You get what I'm saying? And that's even scary for me, because it's like, not only do you gotta qualify a person, but it's like, are you qualified? You get what I'm saying? Like, how much are you willing to put up with? But I believe with God, you get what I'm saying, God's guidance, that you can withstand. So you need somebody who is willing to, you know, withstand and, you know, and stay and build. And then after we build the boat, maybe we can go back and visit, you know. You know, God didn't say that you couldn't go back to the mainland or anything. He's just saying, like, do you build to stay, you know, in this new territory? Because that's what a marriage is a new territory. You know, or do you build to get back to what's familiar? And God is like, I want you to build to stay. You know, he's calling us to be, to build to stay, because, you know, divorce rate is so high. Like, people don't even value relationships anymore at all, or neither do they want them. So, because it's not that big of a deal to people anymore. But God is like, for the people of God, like, I still have purpose. Like, I still have purpose for unions, and I do want to give it to you guys. Like, I always wonder, like, how is all of these people in the world, and yet nobody can find each other? Like, if you see two people in love, we just fall on them like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe, like, how? And there's so many people in the world, and there's so many people that don't have anybody. We're like, oh my goodness, like, how did they find that? Like, it's so rare to see two people in love, especially two black people in love. Like, let's just be honest, like, two black people, like, really in love, who has been together for a long time. It is so abnormal right now. And, you know, God gave me a reason. He said, one, people just are truly not operating in their true self, so they're not getting to the real thing, so it's not lasting. Like, people aren't getting better. Like, and more people are going to therapy, which is so good, but people really need, like, spiritual therapy, like, because God is the only one that can break the chains. Like, you can talk to a therapist all day long, but there is a spiritual bind that is taking place in the background that only Jesus can break. So if we're not operating in our true selves and our true identities, we don't never get to the thing that's gonna last. We're gonna always keep looking for it and keep going, because it's honestly found in Christ, and that's the only way that you can get it. Not saying you got to be in Christ to be in love. Like, of course, you do not have to be, you know, a Christian to be in love, obviously. But I just look at it as God has an agenda, meaning Jesus Christ, and the devil has an agenda. And it's like, when you guys get together, which one do you serve? You know, because sometimes people get together and they serve each other. That's still, like, and not like serving each other, like, I mean, like, serving the flesh of each other. Like, well, people are just really, you know, getting together and they are, like, really serving the flesh of each other. There's still an agenda behind it. Like, it might not look wicked at first, you know, but it's still an agenda behind it. But so we are looking for, you know, husbands that we can serve the agenda of Christ with, raise beautiful children with, have our businesses, like, all these amazing things for the kingdom. And I believe that that's coming, because so many people are, you know, waking up and coming into their true identity. So I'm looking forward to what God has in store for us, and that is the end. that is the end of my first YouTube video. I definitely was led by God to do this video, and I actually had way more fun doing it than I thought I would. I know I left out some topics, but if you guys are interested, we can definitely open up that conversation. You will see a lot of fashion. I love fashion. A lot of food. I love food. Family. I love my daughter and my dog. And some vlogs. Like, I'm just trying to find, you know, my avenue in this thing. I don't want it to be like what you always see when you get on YouTube. You know, I feel like I watch a lot of the same channels. It's the same message. Everybody's house looks the same. I'm like, how can I be different and also be purposeful? Because I don't like to waste time. So if you're going to spend some time with me watching my videos, you're going to leave with something. So that's all I'm trying to do. Thank you guys so much. Be sure to hit that subscribe button.